What's up, ladies and gentlemen? If you were part of the live stream, shout out to you guys in the notification crew. But we are going to go over, sorry, my internet did go out. So we are going to go over the top stock I'm watching. But first and foremost, for everyone that's here for the normal stream, we are going to go over the dollar, the Russell, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and then actually, you know what? We're going to do two stocks. The top stock I'm watching, and then possibly one more. So first and foremost, last week, absolute banger. If you followed anything I was in, then you've been short the dollar. You were short the Qs, Palantir, and Tesla, and those puts absolutely went nuts, which was banger, especially on Tesla, because Tesla, we bought the 200 strike calls, and it was at like 180, 170. Those absolutely killed it, and then we bought puts right at the peak, which absolutely killed it. So shout out to everybody in the group that followed those plays. But getting into the dollar, we sold off. We broke this trend. Amazing. We're in this weekly zone that I do need it to break. So kind of bearish that we broke this trend. The only thing we're doing now is not making a higher low, but we're not making a lower low yet, so we can't really, get too excited yet. We still need this zone very much to break. Same thing with the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen. Now, this is actually how I'm short the dollar right now. I was already short. I had to stop short right here, which means I added on the second it broke those wicks, and absolutely just went crazy down. So I do need, we're starting to break this trend. I need this zone to break, and then these green lines are actually a giant monthly zone. So I need that to break. And you've heard me say this before, and I'm not kidding when I say this. I do hope, if everything pans out right, to make $1 million on this trade. To be one of my top trades, which is why you've seen me just hammer and talk about the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen so much. As far as Bitcoin goes, we actually did have a daily range right here. We broke down. We stayed inside this daily range for some time, just like these red candles, or these red lines right here. And anytime you see me draw these, when we do break that, that's your signal. We're probably headed that way. And so this candle right here was actually the break above and close, and then we just kind of sending it from there. I left these two up just kind of see if we do jack around inside there. But I deleted the first two on the stream. I'm deleting these two now. Let's watch out for this. I did mention on stream, if you're going to short Bitcoin, now would be the time, just due to its trend. All this would be is just the dip for anybody going short. But I would be very hesitant of it hitting this zone, pulling back to this yellow zone right here, because all you'll be doing then, again, creating a bull flag. So be cautious of that. If now, I'm not doing this, but if I was, we did short and we went into this yellow zone, my stop would be in the green on that. No way I would want a green trade turning red on that setup. All right, as far as the S&P, at the time we'd opened it or started the stream, it was nowhere. So we'd gapped up, we sold off, came back up, and at the time we were streaming, just hanging out right there. Tiny bit of a push up. And I know everyone's probably thinking, what does this Trump situation mean? It does go into my top ticker that I'm watching tomorrow, which does bring a whole dose of volatility. But I got to say, there's the real world and the stock world. What stocks actually got affected by Trump getting shot in the ear? Right now, the people get shot all the time. Trump was not the president. If Trump had been the president and they smoked him right there on stage, I bet the dollar and the markets probably would react to that. But because everything's fine, and not that everything's fine, because shout out to the family members of the people that didn't make it. Absolutely terrible. But when it comes to stocks, Boeing fell out of the sky like lawn darts, multiple planes, right? It wasn't just the pilot that didn't make it. They didn't jump out with parachutes. The market just doesn't care. Now, I know that gets grim, but realistically, not really anything that got affected by this. But there's a lot of people that just are naturally making the assumption, which then brings on the argument of buyers versus sellers. And if buyers are going to show up thinking something, we'll probably have to see later tomorrow to be a decision we make, real time, when all the buyers flood into one thing and start pumping something. But for now, as far as the S&P goes, it'd be hard not to buy the dip. That's what we talked about earlier on the stream. We made it about this far before it did close out. For now, yeah, until that red candle gets followed by another red candle, it's just a buy the dip scenario. The only reason we went short is because we were just a little extended. Last week, all we did was hang right inside the expected moves. Now, I have not updated these expected moves, but coming in hot. I will. So if you guys do have my charts, you guys will have that here in just a little bit. All right, as far as the NASDAQ goes, Both arguments, right? So you have like the higher low and a bull flag right here. You have just a giant bear flag. So ultimately, I would watch Friday's price action. This red candle, this 4-hour candle right here, breaking above, and we're bullish. And we break this thing down and stay down. We're still here by the open. Then we're headed south. Now, Powell does speak tomorrow. So we'll need to see if that does. We're going to kick this week off with some fireworks, and we're going to maintain the fireworks throughout this week, I bet. Ultimately, July is a pretty bullish month. So let's see if everybody wanted to buy up that dip, if we're going to continue. The real question is right now, which trend is your friend? This trend says that's a higher low. This trend says possibly a lower high. You see a bunch of charts where they have just these little micro trend lines. Maybe someone's drawing it right here. As far as the Russell goes, now this is the one I am short right now over the weekend because, well, we hit the magic yellow box. We hit the magic yellow box, so I actually have Wednesday's expiration puts for this. I'm in the 213 puts expiring Wednesday. I do have quite a few, so I need that to not be green. I want this thing here, if not here, Monday. I will settle for Tuesday morning at the latest. Because they expire on Wednesday, I assume we will probably, and by I assume we, I mean me. Now, I bought them kind of risking capital. So if we gap and go tomorrow, they're going to zero. That's that. But if they are green, I am going to manage it. I don't want to have a green trade going red. And again, I'm playing a pullback on that. So best case scenario, we absolutely melt this thing down like that, and all I'm doing is trailing it. Okay. Now, the second to top stock that I'm watching is Tesla. Now, I did grab Tesla puts, and those just continued to rock. So, killed it on those. But I got to say right now, I am watching this because everyone's talking, and I got so many texts about this because as soon as Trump got shot, Elon said, I fully endorse Trump, and speedy recovery. And you just can't. It was just impressive how fast people could take advantage of the situation. It really was. But that being said, I don't know if everyone saw that tweet and went to a Tesla dealership and said, "Get me a Tesla now." He supports my guy Trump. Republicans pretty much hate EVs. If you've ever talked to a Republican about an EV, you've heard it. What are you going to do if it runs out of power? They never ask, the same thing your gas car does when it runs out of gas. Except I leave the house with a full tank every day. That's sweet. I don't care what side you're on, but I can't stand how much misinformation and how stupid people are when it comes to EVs. They'll show up in the comments. Just read them down below. They can't wait to give their irrelevant opinion. But anyway, there was already a side that hated EVs, and it was a Republican. So I don't know how that affects the stock like some people think. But Tesla already has its own volatility. So to say it's volatile because of that tweet, I don't know. I think it's a stretch, but I will be playing Tesla. Tesla's one of the top ones I trade. It is my bread and butter ticker. It is one that I have in my investment account that I do continuously add to. It's also one that we're about to have a lot in the growth account. If you follow that account, that's an account for the if you're on Patreon, right? So tier 1, $5 a month. That's the one where I post every play in and out, real time. We're about to have a lot of Tesla in there. I'm just waiting for the pullback to buy. We already sold Tesla, and then I'm just going to buy it on the dip. We had it, sold it. I'm going to buy more on the dip. But that being said, I wouldn't attribute any extra volatility to that scenario. I know a lot of people might, and maybe Wall Street Bets just loads up. So be it. And before anyone corrects me and says Wall Street Bets isn't going to move a Tesla like ticker or a ticker like Tesla, thanks. I don't know where I would be without you. That was weird how that went away like that. But anyway, I appreciate that insight. There's a lot of institutions that are monitoring Wall Street Bets. So if they see anything get any traction, they're fueling that fire. They're making it happen. So Wall Street Bets they don't move as much as they think they do, but in a sense they do, if that makes sense. Because it's not just them on there. It's people monitoring the keyboard. So if they see Tesla picking up a lot of traction because of this or that, there's any kind of delta hedge that needs to take place, institutions will jump on board that. So we'll have to be some kind of perfect storm like that for Tesla to move. The absolute number one ticker that I'm watching, it's probably obvious. Donald J. Trump, Trump Media Technology Group. Now, let's just do, I've never played this. Now, I have made fun of this a lot. Not because I don't like Trump or anything. I don't give my political opinion on here. And I really don't care for yours. I really don't. That's just kind of how I am. You have your own opinions. I would never judge or fault you for it. I don't care. I literally do not care. I would never judge someone for their experience and what made them come up with those opinions. But I've made fun of this a lot because there's a lot of lack of intelligence when it comes to why people would trade this. Like, I'm buying this. He's going to beat Meta. He's going to beat YouTube. I've heard some of the most outrageous stuff on this ticker, and it's very easy to make fun of. But that being said, because this directly correlates with Trump, I am curious to see how many people jump in. Now, I am going to buy this, I think, first thing in the morning. If this doesn't just gap down and just shred in the morning, I'm buying it. And I'm buying it because I just don't know. And the last thing I want to be doing is buying it up here. The last thing I would do is wait for it to be super green and then buy in. Oh, let me make sure everyone else is buying first and then I'll buy in. That's how you buy the peaks. So I'm going to front run the risk on this. My stop, I'll put it at 1685. And I don't know if you guys know how to do risk management. I don't know if anybody in here really does, if they're in this ticker. 1685. So we'll call it 30, 16. That's $14 worth of risk, which means if I only want to risk $30, I can only afford to buy 2 shares, period, because that's all I can fit in my risk amount, whether I have a $1 million account or not. How much do you want to risk? How many times can you fit $14 per share in there? If it breaks that, I don't want to be a part of it, but I don't want to get wicked out by anything down here. Typically, I would take this trade. I might even load up, put my stop right here at 27.85. 24. Most of the time, I would probably end up putting it right here, 22.45, which would allot me quite a bit more shares. At that point, we're talking, $8 a share versus 14, so you can fit quite a bit more with the same amount of risk. I don't want any wicks or jumping out. Like I said, this is probably going to have its own volatility. If it gaps up here, it means I just get to buy that much less because my stop will remain the same. But I want to get in this, and I hope it just turns into I have a feeling this will lead to a pump and dump. Everybody buying in, a lot of people will take profits. It's hard to even really zone this out. If I had to worry about where things could get nuts, I'm going to assume it's going to be right inside there. As far as peaks go, we'll definitely have to watch. Looks like there's a lot of taking profit in this vicinity right there. It would be a miracle if we made it that far. All right, so we rejected. Okay, so full send. Hopefully this zone right here holds. Now, because I just mentioned pump and dump and zone this out, if you guys are new here, maybe you just don't fully understand this because someone's going to be like, it went right through that zone. And I get it. You don't pay attention. Fine. Pay attention to this one. When it comes to a catalyst like this, when it's surging or a pump and dump, most of the people that are making money in this aren't worried about stupid things like that. So when it's sending it and it's going, you can put all kinds of EMAs, RSIs, zones, whatever you want. The Fibonacci people, the Elliott waves, it'll blast through any of that in a current catalyst. Because what this is not, again, it's not a bunch of buyers. It's a lack of sellers. And some people are coming in to buy it. So things could get nuts. Now what I'll do is I'll buy it as it pushes up. I will trail it so it can blast to this zone, this zone, this zone. This thing could be the first thing to go to 100,000 and beat AMC there, which would be incredible because we've heard this. AMC should be at 100K anytime now. But anyway, all I'm going to do is trail it. And I can't stress enough the volatility this ticker is going to come with. So please roll those dice at your own risk. But that's what I'm going to be doing. So this will be the next video that I make talking about is how it panned out. I just don't know of a scenario where I'm not buying this outside of it just gapping. If we open up here, anywhere remotely close to here, just know that I bought some. So if I bought it and it just shoots straight down, that next video is just going to say how much I lost. I bought it and it shoots up. I'll tell you how I managed it and how much I made. But I'm going to wrap it up here. I actually can't wait for the market to open tomorrow. So I'll see you guys all in the next video. Do me actually a huge solid. Could you guys share the video? And then check out the next video it's showing you right now on screen. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.